Howdy folks! Today we're going to talk about the P-51 style tailwheel on the T-6 and how it looks all apart together in the tail. So, this aircraft is an SNJ-4. The original T-6, or the original SNJ-4, did not have this kind of steering tailwheel. This tailwheel is actually from the T-6G, also known as the SNJ-7, which was when it was used by the Navy. So this is actually a modified tailwheel when this airplane was restored. So let's take a look down here. And you can see we have a couple of things going on here. So you've got the tailwheel, and it goes to this arm, to the post, and it goes to this. There's bearings in there, and there's this nut and retaining on the spring. And you can see right here, you've got a hole, you've got a pin, you've got kind of a bell crank, and then you've got this cable that goes to that pulley, and then you also have this linkage that goes to there, and that's actually a bell crank in there. You can actually kind of see the pulley. Nope. Could, maybe, nope. Well, anyway, if I move the rudder with my hand, you can see. So basically, let's kind of talk about how this all works. So this right here is the tailwheel steering bell crank. When you move the rudders, there are two walking beams inside the tail for the rudder control, and halfway down those walking beams the tailwheel steering cables are attached, and they run in through the bottom of the fuselage, or they go right here, or yeah, the bottom of the fuselage. I remembered how it looks like in there, and then it attaches to the tailwheel steering bell crank. Again, I'm trying to show those darn cables in there. You can kind of just barely see the nut right there. Anyway, so that attaches there, and then it attaches to this linkage, which attaches to our tailwheel steering mechanism. Now right now, the tailwheel is actually unlocked. So when you actually steer the tail, this pin will be engaged into that hole, and the way you do that is by having the stick displaced rear of neutral. When you push the stick forwards, what happens is you bring the trailing edge of the elevator down. So you can see that we're moving the elevator right now. So when you push the stick forward, you can see it goes to this little thingy. So stick back and stick forward. It actually pulls this cable up. You can go underneath and see what that does for us. And you can see it actually pulls that pin. And whenever we push the stick forward, or pull the elevator down. So unfortunately, I can't demonstrate locking the tailwheel because the airplane's not on jacks and I can't move the tailwheel around. But in essence, if we start taxiing forward, this would move around, and then this pin would pop in place. And then when you move the rudder, this pin moving around would move the whole tailwheel, and you would have tailwheel steering. If you push the stick forward, it would raise the pin out of the hole, and then the tailwheel would be free to caster around. Now, this is something important to note when towing this airplane, is that to make sure this tailwheel is unlocked. And on the T-6, when you lock the controls, the trailing edge of the elevator is down, and so you always know that if the controls are locked, you can go up to the aileron and jiggle it. If you can't jiggle it, then you can tow the airplane, and you won't bust this pin, because you can shear that pin. It's not too much of a pain to replace it on this airplane, but can be on other airplanes like the Hellcat. So yeah, that's basically it for the P-51 style tailwheel on the T-6 Texan. And they call it P-51 style because they came up with this because it's how North American made the P-51 tailwheel work. And you can see item 5 there are the tailwheel control cables, and those go to those walking beams inside the fuselage. Let's see if there's a diagram for the rudder. You know, these good old manuals. Let's see. I think it might be. There we go. So you can see right there. So that goes to the rudder, those cables, and those are the walking beams. And then you can see, like more like 3/4 of the way down, they go to those pulleys that go to the tail wheel. Yeah, that's basically it. The control lock is right there. I can't do it with one hand. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you learned something. So yeah, all right. Take care.